Restaurants, try the newest $5 footlong Orchard chicken salad. Counting it out to the start of the race at Dover, Delaware. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won here before as we welcome you back to Sprint Cup Racing from Dover, presented by Budweiser. And the King, Richard Petty, at Richard Petty Motorsports. He'll have to decide there. He'll have a big celebration 1 week from today. That line, if you build it, they will come, from the great baseball movie Field of Dreams. But those words apply to NASCAR. On Tuesday, the long-awaited and much-anticipated NASCAR Hall of Fame opened, and the Hall's motto, where the race lives on.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the NASCAR Hall of Fame is open in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Good-looking place. The doors open. Many of the greats on hand on Tuesday in Charlotte, among them Bobby Allison, our own Darrell Waltrip, and the 2010 inductees, Richard Petty, Junior Johnson. Fans of all ages get to check out some of the interactive displays. There's old cars, exhibits. Jeff Hammond, Chad Knaus working a little crew chief action there. Pit crew activity. The Allison brothers reenacted the legendary 1979 fight. Steve Burns played the role of Cale Yarborough. It was a terrific day to be celebrated, and congrats to all. Well, Richard Petty, of course, the guy that was on hand, and we figure a 7-time champ. He's won here 7 times automatically in inaugural class. He's one you ought to count in.
Yeah, I think so. What I like about the hall, it's got all of our history under one roof now. You can walk through there and you can see from the very beginning back in the 50s right up to current day. I love that. We're honoring our founding fathers, you know, with Richard and Bill France Jr. and Sr., Jr. and Dale. It's the Mount Rushmore of our sport.
Well, Chris, the thing is, I was born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina. In 1964, I was sitting over at Charlotte Motor Speedway watching these legends race, and it just made me so proud to see this happen for the city of Charlotte and to be a part of it. I mean, it's just a great time. Well,
and pro football, basketball, baseball have their Hall of Fame. There's a lot of space in this Hall of Fame, and also they allow you to touch a lot of the exhibits, hands-on material. It's very much a hands-on deal, and, you know, maybe one of these days they'll even have a place for you. Well, I don't know about that. I have been in there and tried to, you know, they have the pit crew thing. It was a lot of work. It is. You guys just... I have, and I turned blue. Richard Petty won at this track 7 times. In 1967, he had 27 victories, including 10 in a row. Talk about records unlikely to ever be broken. So 200 career wins, the King. NASCAR's greatest driver, one of the sport's great treasures. And to honor his old car, the paint scheme on A.J. Allmendinger's 43 car for today for Richard Petty Motorsports, the same as when Richard drove it. 7-time NASCAR champ Richard the King is with our Matt Yoakum.
And Chris, down behind the driver's introduction stage, and the King, Richard Petty, talking to a couple of Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers down the road, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson. Richard, back in '92, your fan appreciation tour, will that carry over to next Sunday? Is that going to be a special part for you to also get back to the fans one more time?
Yeah, it's almost a bigger deal. Okay, you know what I mean? In '92, it was, you know, putting 32 years behind you, and the deal coming up Sunday is bringing all those years back. And so it makes you feel good from that standpoint.
You love this sport. No one is more passionate about NASCAR racing. For you, when you took the tour through the Hall of Fame, what was the most special to Richard Petty?
Well, just going through the history part of it, you know, from 1949 to 1960 or whatever, and you see different things in there that remind you of another story or another something. And, you know, the problem is when I did go through, that's me. I mean, I'm a history, so most of that stuff that happened, I was there when it happened.
No matter what part of NASCAR racing you love, there's something at the Hall of Fame just for you. Chris?
Thanks, Matt and Richard. Bill France, Sr., Jr., of course, Junior Johnson, the late, great Dale Earnhardt, along with Richard Petty. That's a pretty good inaugural group.
You got to love this. Richard Petty's nickname when he started driving was Squirrel.
Not King.
No, not 200 wins later. Obviously, you become the king after that.
You know what's so cool about it is when you think about it, there's Richard Petty. He was my hero. Dale Earnhardt, he was my friend. And Junior Johnson, well, he was my boss for 10 years. So those three right there together are very, very special. And an opportunity to work with the France family and give me an opportunity to be what I am today, it's just huge. I mean, it really is. Great moments for special men.
And next Sunday, Speed will broadcast the induction ceremonies from the Hall of Fame in Charlotte, North Carolina. Check local listings for the start time in your area. And if you get a chance, it is very fan-friendly, kid-friendly, open 362 days a year. Go by and visit when you can. We're going to talk with Jeff Gordon. You know, he'll be in the Hall of Fame one day soon. But recent problems, very un-Gordon-like, and we'll explore those when we continue as we count you down to the start of the race here in Dover. Welcome back to Sprint Cup Racing from Dover, Delaware, presented by Budweiser. Jamie McMurray finishing second in 2 of the last 3 races. He'll start from row 6 today. Greg Biffle, he's won here twice at Dover. He starts from row 12 and hoping for a solid performance. Well, the sky is not falling down on Jimmy Johnson, or for another driver, he hopes things are looking up. Tony Stewart put aside his 23rd place finishes in the last 2 races to join his father Nelson as they hitched a ride with the Golden Knights, the U.S. Army's parachute team. Admittedly nervous beforehand, Stewart was 13,500 feet above Cincinnati when he leaped as part of a tandem jump. The driver, whose nickname is Smoke, called it among the coolest experiences in his entire life. A well-grounded Tony Stewart is with our Dr. Dirt, Dick Berggren.
Tony, did you actually jump out of that plane, or did the guy behind you push you out of that plane?
Well, he did all the work, but I agreed to it, so it was fun. I had an absolute blast. It was something that Brian Vickers and I have been talking about, and want to say hi to Brian. I know he's at home, and wishing we as well as him are wishing he was here. So get feeling better, bud. But I had a blast, just so you know. But it was great, man. What an experience, and everybody at the U.S. Army Golden Knights, they were awesome. It just really was an awesome day.
Which is a bigger rush, turn 1 at Dover or jumping out of that plane?
Well, I've done the Dover thing so many times. That's second nature. I can promise you that was a rush. That was one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life. And the only thing that I was upset about is that I kicked myself in the butt for not doing it 10 years sooner. But it's something that I know that's not going to be my last jump for sure. That's something we're gonna look into, and hopefully we can go with the Golden Knights a couple more times. But you know, like I said, Brian Vickers has been talking to me for a long time about how much fun it is and wanting to take me. So hopefully he'll get feeling better soon. We'll get to go again.
You're a brave man.
No, don't confuse bravery with stupidity.
A thrill seeker. And Dick Berggren, you know, I don't want to say Dick was there for the original flight of the Wright brothers. He tried to date Kitty Hawk. Did you know that? All right. I'm sorry.
Hey, I want to challenge both of you guys. Y'all used to make fun of me for jumping out of airplanes.
Right.
You always said I was stupid and I was crazy. We'll challenge both of you to go jump with the Golden Knights sometime.
We'll watch you from the ground. They came in and invited. Hey, real quick, Tony Stewart, you know, Ryan Newman going up a little bit, Tony sliding back. What's going on? We know he's not a fast starter during the year.
Tony's kind of in a free fall.
Careful,
but
Darryl.
he's used to taking leaps of faith.
Okay.
He took one last year by starting his own deal, so he will probably at the end of the day say, best thing I ever did.
Yeah, okay.
He'll rally back. He'll
be in the chase. All right, Jeff Gordon, he starts from row 8 today. Jeff Burton, row 9. Now, both of these veteran drivers have won at Dover before, and it looked like they could have won last week at Darlington, but late in the race, mistakes and mishaps threw a wrench into their plans.
Jeff Burton ready to pounce.
Jeff Gordon's licking his chops.
These two guys are the 2 drivers that are mistake-free most of the time.
Jeff Gordon made a mistake. He was trying to get onto pit road, and Gordon could not make the commit code.
What happened was I saw him right on me, and I tried to get out of his way, and I didn't slow down good enough. Yeah, if I had made it, man, we've been looking pretty.
I think the 31 car is going to have to come back to pit road. He ran over the air hose. Can't do that.
Got to start the tail. I went with a jack, Phil. Yeah, you did everything you were supposed to do.
Demoralizing right here. The 2 best cars were the 24 and the 31. It's another night of what could have been.
Jeff Burton has failed to win the last 3 races that he's led the most laps. Jeff Gordon has led 2 races with 10 to go and has failed to win.
Both teams have very fast race cars, and in both guys' cases are seasoned veterans. They know better. They know better than to beat themselves. It's the worst defeat in the world is when you do it to yourself. But I think both of them just need to relax, just chill out a little bit. The crews are messing up. The drivers are messing up. Just take it easy. You've got the car to win the race. Do your job.
And on top of that, they're making you look bad because you said they were the 2 smartest guys out there, not making mistakes, and they did.
The older guys.
Yeah. But I mean, at least on Burton's situation, the jack man is the one who kind of did him wrong on that. He shouldn't have dropped the jack before the guy got up. But in Jeff's case, I mean, you don't expect those kind of mental mistakes out of a 4-time champion. You really don't. And today's another one of those places here where if you guys are not sharp, it can cost you getting on and off pit road.
Got to focus.
Yeah, I heard Jeff Burton on the radio say to his team, hey, you want to be a championship team, we got to perform like one, and they weren't able to do that last week. Meanwhile, Joe Gibbs Racing, led by Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch, they won 4 of the last 6 races, stirring conversation that this team has caught up to or maybe even passed Hendrick Motorsports. But think about this. All 4 of the Hendrick drivers currently in the top 12 in points, so they'd make the chase. Of course, one of Rick's drivers going for what would be the unprecedented 5th straight championship. And to try and keep it that way, Rick Hendrick has a plan in place.
when I'm around Rick, I'm like a